In this Halo-themed civilization scenario, roughly 100 players must work together on a megastructure thousands of blocks in diameter and overrun with parasites. If they can hold out long enough, they will be given a chance to fight their way to the control room on the newly created Halo ring above the megastructure. From there, they can activate the ring and destroy the parasite. However, unless they are able to coordinate as a unified force, they have no hope of reaching their goal alive. Each player has 10 lives, but should they fail, the parasites will surely overrun the galaxy in a ravenous tide of pestilence. You can find the links to the mod pack and map and everything else down in the description, and as always, if you haven't already, don't forget to drop a like and hit that subscribe button.
Get set for a combat drop.
Some players were lucky enough to spawn close to certain advantageous locations like the desert village on top of a hill, but others were stuck in more inhospitable locations, with one notable example being on top of a jungle tree on top of a mountain. But everyone had one common goal, that of collecting wood and making some tools and getting into the mines. For the time being, the players were safe. There were very few parasites to be found. In fact, players have a 1-hour grace period before they will learn of the parasites. So for the time being, it was still safe to run around unarmed and unarmored, looking for a nice place to live, or build a base, or some other players to join, or even keeping your eye out for one of the many structures located around the map, many of which contain loot.
Let's, where the hell are we?
I expect a lot of people were expressing this sentiment, so let's take a look at the map. A few locations quickly stood out for the players as points of interest, namely, these 3 villages, a large firebase stocked full of equipment, an air tower near the desert village, an abandoned and destroyed firebase, and a mysterious opening in the side of a hill. While other players had already gathered tools, a bee was still trying to climb down from the top of a jungle mountain. In fact, not only did they climb down, but they actually descended into a bit of a ravine right next to the base of the mountain, which turned out to be a good decision later on. Lieutenant Dropkick, one of the map builders, was one of the few people to spawn on the western arm of the installation. First they explored a little crash site, but there wasn't anything there, so they went over to a large tower that was nearby and discovered some loot, including a diamond block and a shulker box full of goods. There were quite a few players at the very base of the western arm though, although most of them were just passing through the area, on their way towards the northern arm. Eventually Dropkick made their way down to the base of the western arm and discovered a submerged drop pod full of loot. Actually, it was quite close to where some other players had been running past not moments before. However, I think that Dropkick, being one of the builders, helped them locate the pod. Well, that doesn't look particularly good. A couple players spawned at the Spruce Village and proceeded to grab all of the loot that they could find. This even included disassembling part of the house to make a pickaxe. Much of the loot though was to be found in a big vehicle parked right next to the village. It actually had a small armory with a bunch of armor in it. A few players tried to go in there, but unfortunately they were ambushed by a few parasites, resulting in some of the very first parasite deaths. I think those actually were the first, only a mere 2 minutes into the event. Far away in the desert, some other players had congregated near a little insurrectionist base that had a bunch of creeper spawners in it. Luckily for them, it wasn't night, so there weren't any creepers, and they could go and chop trees in peace. Not everybody stuck around the insurrectionist base too long. One person actually decided to go up the southeastern arm and into the wilderness, presumably to do some exploring and resource gathering. While exploring, Kingcraft happened upon the entrance to the Containment Facility. Wisely though, Kingcraft decided not to stick around and ran back towards the center of the installation. Unfortunately, they suffered a small accident on their travels, but the one upside of this accident was that they were respawned at the Firebase, the largest hub of player activity this early on into the event.
I'll probably check that.
Narrator.
Oh.
Narrates all.
No, not you, narrator.
Ordinary Tuba has made the advancement acquire hardware. Shark Buddy 408 says TP me I am stuck.
Shut up.
Portable Steam 48 says gun I need a gun. Narrator, off.
Not only did the Firebase contain significant stores of ammunition and weapons and armor for players to grab, it also happens to be the default respawn location for everyone on the server, so when you die, you're probably going to spawn back there, which is both good and bad, but we'll see that later. Anyone who spawned nearby the Firebase tried to make their way toward it to get some of that loot before it was all gone. There was even information on nearby drop pods in the form of coordinates inside the base. The armory was unsurprisingly quite a busy location as people went in to grab their marine armor from the local marines.
God, it's so nice. Oh! Okay.
I'm going to go grab my ODST drop pod.
Oh, I found Captain Keys.
And
Nice.
I already have all the gear.
You found keys.
Yep.
Where are you guys at to find keys?
In the Firebase.
The Firebase.
The non-blown up one. It wasn't long before the nearby drop pods were looted as people finished gearing up at the Firebase and decided to head somewhere else. One person, David WNV, actually decided to go up the rest of the arm. There were several abandoned structures to be found on the eastern arm, and David WNV decided to hit them all and see if any loot could be found. Unfortunately, though, it looked like they had already been looted, and so they were left with no choice but to journey deep into the jungle. After the initial mad dash of players at the beginning of the event, people decided to settle down a little bit and start mining. Almost everywhere you went, you could see people mining, either in groups or on their own, but typically concentrated in a few locations as seen on this map.
Oh, what is this? Oh, there's diamonds! Whoa! Okay, got a couple more diamonds.
It turned out that Abi had done the right thing by going into that ravine because there was actually a lot of resources down there, quite a few diamonds. Those who had journeyed up the southeastern arm were able to find a bunch of resources in a cave. Another player decided to go exploring and made their way all the way to the northern arm, a place previously unexplored. There, they managed to find the third and final village. Portable steam was nearby, but they were busy mining and collecting iron and diamonds. But it wasn't long before they too made their way over to the village and took a look. Everything that could be mined was being mined, and this included structures like the insurrectionist base. The players discovered that there were quite a few iron blocks used in the buildings, and so they quickly demolished them and turned them into iron and weapons. Even the garage door at the Firebase wasn't safe because it was made of iron blocks.
Are they?
I've got all my gear.
Did they already find the Firebase? Is that why they're putting cords?
There's a lot of people at the Firebase, or at least there were, maybe not a lot, but some.
Dang. Cool.
Nice, we're mining. It's a desert village, which is going to turn into a nightmare scenario once parasites spawn. Because parasites drop right on top of that village. Nope, it's not going to be good there. But we'll get to that in a little bit. Unsurprisingly, the area around the ruined Firebase on the southern arm was not particularly active. I think people, for good reason, kind of wanted to stay away from the ruined Firebase, except for Fluffy Pork. Fluffy Pork was happy to visit the ruined Firebase, which I suppose if you're going to do it at all, doing it during the day is probably a better idea. In fact, Fluffy Pork actually managed to snag some iron armor from some armor stands before going off nearby and mining in a nice cave. Still, other players hung out in front of the ruined Firebase and decided to cook some stuff in a furnace. Eventually, they realized that there were actually iron blocks inside the ruined Firebase, which kind of made the whole thing worth their while. At one point, Ranger Rex, one of the builders of the map, was nearby the ruined Firebase, but they didn't stick around for very long. And they also didn't need to go mining because Ranger Rex had a little secret stash that only they knew about. And so, of course, they made a beeline to said stash underneath a little lake and got geared up with a bunch of diamond armor, flamethrower, and is that a scar I see? It wasn't long before they were ready to take on almost anything.
I actually, I remember now that I was reasonable and gave myself less stuff, which is good.
There was a guy who died to a rupture.
Orange. Orange is in full chief armor.
Yo.
Oh, hi, Dropship.
Hey.
Everybody's here.
We're all here. We're all here.
You're all.
I'm heading towards the Firebase.
Alright, if y'all will come with me, I'm gonna head towards some drop pods.
Let's go. Not that I'm gonna take anything, but I'll go along for the ride. Oh, did somebody find the bean room?
Water red.
The bean
Someone
room?
found the bean room already?
They found the bean room. Fluffy Pork found the bean room.
Wow.
That didn't take long. By late afternoon on the first day, two main groups of players had emerged from the chaos. The first group being those at the desert village, where a lot of people were either already at or they were making their way there as it became nighttime. The other main group was at the Firebase, where people who died and just a bunch of other people were hanging out. Additionally, a few people decided to set up their own small settlements outside the Firebase. Bigbot, one of my moderators/builders, was among those who journeyed to the Firebase late in the afternoon. But they didn't stick around for long, they had other places to go. Even into the evening, people still arrived at the Firebase, while others were busy planting farms not far away. Things got a little bit interesting over at the Insurrectionist base as creepers started spawning, but it was nothing a Barrett 50 cal couldn't take care of. Alice from the southeastern arm and Nuboom managed to find themselves at the abandoned Firebase just as nighttime was falling. A most inopportune time, to be sure. Alice wisely didn't stick around and instead went north towards the desert village. Meanwhile, a few others were lurking nearby, either trying to find some extra loot or just killing some creepers, in the case of this one player near the abandoned and destroyed scorpion tank.
Anyway, whoa, what the hell is this? Yo, what the hell? Oh, hell nah, what was that? Yo! Yo! Okay, bro. Oh my god! Oh, hell nah. Oh! Oh! Oh, nah. Oh my god! This... Nope, that's one life down.
Right on the heels of those just leaving the ruined Firebase, a couple members of my moderators/builder team showed up to attempt to raid and loot the Firebase themselves. Oh, there's so much loot. Wow, you guys put a ton of loot in the ruined Firebase if people could make it there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's...
I'm heading
especially
there
the
right
armory.
now.
Yeah.
I filled the armory with nice stuff.
That's really nice.
Flippity-dee. Oh, wow. Oh, nah! You big as hell! Those some scary ass fuckers. Oh! Oh, hell nah! Yo, you got me effed up! Yo, you got me effed up! What is this? Brother! I'm horrified right now.
Bigbot made their way over to the ruined Firebase at around the same time that Orange Rubberball, one of the other moderators, and also Underscorched and Dropkick made their way there. They all kind of converged on it at the same time and proceeded to loot what they could. Bigbot got lucky and found a full shulker box of loot that the Fluffy Pork had missed earlier on. But then, Bigbot got a little bit unlucky.
Where did you guys put the loot? I don't see no loot.
I see it, but I'm not gonna say anything. I'm sure one of you guys knows where it is.
Die.
Oof. Oh! Well, now there's a lot of parasites here. Despite getting swarmed by parasites, Bigbot wasted no time in returning as fast as possible. Meanwhile, Dropkick and Underscorched were busy holding down the fort from the treetops. And finally, after what must have seemed like a long night to the people at the ruined Firebase, the sunrise did make its appearance. Before we get too far ahead, I'd like to briefly go back in time and talk about the start of the desert village and its settlement, as I think it deserves its own section. It really was the perfect spot to make a base. It's a village on top of a hill. Somewhat easy to defend, actually very easy to defend. All it needed were some walls. It contained a lot of resources from the get-go, like food and loot, there's wood nearby, and there's even places to go mining. It even includes a bunch of animal spawners, so there's absolutely no way you could ever run out of food. Arguably, it's a perfect spot, which is why it began attracting players from all corners of the map, a bee being one of these players. And even nearby the desert village was the air tower, which happened to contain a lot of loot. It wasn't apparent right away, but upon closer inspection, some people noticed that there was a lot of iron blocks in the building, not to mention some beacons, which you could always use some beacons. It wasn't even nighttime yet and players were already building a wall around the village. It wasn't long before the players deployed the beacons they'd collected from the nearby air tower. These provided a very easy way for new players to see where they needed to go if they were interested in finding the desert village. And there were plenty of newcomers. It seemed that the population of the desert village settlement was growing by the minute. Oh, this is so bad. People are building a wall around the desert village, like on the hill.
Oh no!
Dude, they're all gonna get destroyed when they start spawning.
Oh no!
I feel so
Can I
bad.
warn them? Can I try and warn them?
away.
That?
Fire race off in the distance.
Should I warn them
Firebase.
about the impending doom that is
You
heading
can
their
try,
way?
yeah. I don't know if it'll help, but you can try.
I mean,
Ignorance truly is bliss. And here we are, back to the sunrise again. The sunrise over the southern arm, home of the ruined Firebase.
We're at the
Yeah, I got
destroyed.
the f there. I'm not going back.
That's probably a good idea to get away from there.
Yeah. Under.
It's bad.
Let's
Oh,
let's
I
evac.
see.
Let's
Yeah,
evac.
let's go.
Evac.
There's a horde of them following.
drop kick. No, shoot.
Oh no.
Okay. Somebody took the prototype Mark IV armor.
I wonder who's wearing it. We'll find out
Lord.
probably.
Whoever's wearing the prototype Mark IV armor, prepare to be a slow boy.
Big oof.
Oh my god.
Rip Big Bot.
Rip the
What
homie.
the? I was crafting, man.
The prototype Mark IV armor is a set of armor that gives a huge amount of protection if you're wearing it, but also a massive slowness debuff. And best of all, the builders decided to put cursive binding on the set, so whoever put it on can't take it off. But don't worry, we run into them soon enough. David WNV decided to do a little bit of a exploit on that morning, that fine morning. They decided to go all the way to the end of one of the arms and over the barrier wall, which, well, they used a strategy that I didn't anticipate. Anyways, their goal was to go and visit one of the villages directly outside of the normal play zone. In it, they found some loot in a blacksmith. Evidently, the loot must have been utterly horrible because they decided to submerge themselves in lava immediately after collecting it. Outside of the desert village, at the base of the air tower, a group of players had outfitted themselves with some heavy weapons, a bunch of shotguns and machine guns. They looked very fierce and were ready to take on any parasites that might come their way. In the background, Fluffy Pork was busy flooding the ground with whatever is in those tanks, maybe I don't want to know. And a little bit later, players were to be found busily stripping the tower of all of its remaining iron blocks. Underneath the village was a pretty significant cave system which was being explored whilst the air tower was being stripped of all of its resources. Ah, and here we see our poor boy who has the prototype Mark IV armor. It's Phoenix D. You can see right there, we've got the slow armor. In the general vicinity of the desert village was another player, Newboom, who decided to dig straight down and was rewarded for their daring by encountering a big open area, which technically is not supposed to be there, but it is, and we're not going to talk about that. Essentially, all that it is just a very strange cave. All the way on the northernmost arm, a small group of players had formed, consisting of my friend Kevin and his friends from his own server. They had all met up in a little group and were busy distributing resources and loot amongst themselves in preparation for founding a base somewhere. By the way, Kevin has a YouTube channel. He just hit 10,000 subscribers pretty recently as of recording this. You should go check it out. He's pretty cool. Our friends at the desert village were busy increasing their wall to bigly proportions in preparation for parasite attacks, which they assumed would be coming from outside of the wall, definitely not inside of the wall. As evening fell across the structure again, Kevin and his group found themselves at the bottom of a pit in the jungle. And not just any jungle, it happened to be a stormy jungle where there is a perpetual storm for some mysterious reason over this part of the jungle. They decided to make this area their future base, and it actually turned out to be a pretty good idea, most of the time. Over on the eastern arm, the moderators and the builders, or as Kevin likes to call them, my dev team posse, were scaling the arm all the way to the very end, as they planned to make a base of their own at the very tip top.
This terrain is wild.
Is there a drop pod in the jungle up here that you guys stuck somewhere?
No, there's actually a hidden object I put here.
Ooh, I'll have to see this. I haven't seen this yet.
My secret cache.
Okay, let's see.
Okay, we're getting closer.
Fun fact, these big dirt pillars are, it's where bamboo used to be.
Kevin's here.
Yo.
Oh my gosh, it's Kevin, let's go.
What's up, man?
Let's go.
How's it going? I'm glad you can make it.
Good. Alright,
oh, I think I see it. There's a shulker box here. Oh, nice.
So, I'm just with my posse from the tavern. We're all just kind of in a ravine right now. Did you guys all want to, like, meet up and work together afterwards?
Oh, absolutely. The more,
That would be
if
great.
we can get like a good squad of like 10 dudes, we will absolutely stop.
Yeah.
Hi, Sbeev.
Let me
Hi.
know what your chords are, and then we can make ways there.
Things were a little bit spooky down in the desert near the air tower. Some larger parasites than commonly seen were roaming around the vicinity. Apart from a failed attempt at reaching a floating village off in the void, the night passed pretty peacefully for everybody on the megastructure.
Those villagers? Oh my god, the villagers! Yo, villagers! Hey! Y'all alive? Oh, wow, there is too damn many. Oh my god, I'm getting lag, bro.
Cactus Farm. Pray to God it works. Well, I'm not sure if it actually works, but hopefully it does. At least it would seem that their semi-automatic cobblestone generator is functioning. Additionally, they seem to be growing giant jungle trees. Pray that we make it out of the event alive. Perhaps the gods will smile on them. A small collection of players were undertaking a daring mining operation underneath the structure itself. They discovered some leftover diamond blocks underneath the structure from its construction, and, well, why let some good diamond blocks go to waste? Another player was busily mining with the goal of making a battle rifle, in addition to their shotgun and energy sword. It wasn't long before they were able to craft their weapon. Meanwhile, Big Bot was on his way up to the eastern arm to join the rest of the dev team.
What up? I'm just kind of getting wood so I can make a chest. I can upgrade my backpack.
Same way, that's what I'm saying. We all gotta.
So
like,
anyways, I
meet
have
up,
this shulker, if you guys
work
want.
together.
Oh my
No,
goodness gracious, man.
Who just gave me a diamond helmet? We should probably.
Why are they making golden apples? That's a poor choice.
It might not actually
but
be
I
a
Make
horrible
Halo
idea.
swords instead.
No, I think golden apples are pretty good for the flood.
I think they should use their valuable resources on Halo swords instead.
Oh, nice, Kevin. You guys got like an enchantment table and bookshelf. That's pretty epic.
Oh yeah, we're cooking over here. I
If
just
you
got
see a
Evening fell on what would be the last peaceful day and subsequently the last peaceful night of the event. Whether intentionally or not, a bee managed to explore right into a Tier 3 beacon that evening. An unpleasant discovery, I must say. Meanwhile, the dev team managed to build themselves a nice floating base off of a cliff at the very top of the eastern arm. After completing this base, they decided to journey back down the arm towards more civilization, and along the way they encountered a base surrounded by lava. It was actually a pretty ingenious defensive measure. They didn't have to build crazy walls, they just created a ring of lava. They all met up at the desert in front of the Firebase with the hope of journeying to the desert village to warn them of their impending doom.
Alright, let's move.
Alright, let's
What
see
if
if we
we
can
just
save those
all
desert
leave and
villagers.
Where are we going, boys?
Let's see. We're going to see if
Hold
we can
up.
save the desert villagers.
Okay. They did make it to the desert village, but unfortunately, the grace period was up, and a structure called the Containment Facility had unlocked and was just waiting for someone to find it. In other words, they were too late for their warning to be effective.
You're just blissfully unaware.
Ignorance
Look at the
is
air
bliss.
tower, bro. It's just like dirt everywhere.
You're literally making like fire as a defense.
Well,
I'm just phase
well,
stocking up on flies and stuff.
If they're this,
hey, I mean, the library's open. Fluffy Porg, one of the members of Desert Village, had heard of a place called the Containment Facility and thought it would be a great idea to breach and explore it. Well,
They
we
got,
have
like,
a
30 people
lone
there, so-
Spartan going into the library. Rip, the private is already dead. But Fluffy Porg wasn't the only person interested in the containment facility. It didn't take long for everyone else to hear about a new location and learn of its position. Players from all across the map began converging on the northwestern portion of the megastructure where the containment facility is located. It's about to start once Fluffy Porg or Rubber Ball runs in.
yeah. Well, we're all three of us are in. Me, Big Button, Underscorched.
Wait for me, please.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, let's wait.
They're already
Where's
in the
the
room.
library at? Give me quartz.
Doors were opened that should have been left sealed, and a terrifying discovery regarding the nature of the megastructure these players inhabit was made.
We have reinforcements. We go in now.
Yo,
Are we
have
going?
people. We go.
Oh, boys!
Go in.
We must push further
The
forward.
bridge
Ah,
is
Go
gone.
on stage Mars.
Negative 231.
I can't fire this thing.
Now that the parasites have been discovered and set free en masse to overrun the installation, the players must hold out for another hour until a dropship arrives that can ferry them to the control room on the ring world. Fluffy Porg themselves actually managed to escape the containment facility much faster than anyone else. They even ran all the way to the village, halfway up the northern arm, where they remained very peacefully for a while. Those who were still in the containment facility had to fight their way out, but eventually most of them made it out alive. Over at the desert village though, it was a different matter, as the parasites began deploying their first raiding parties all across the megastructure.
Oh, hell no, what's that? Oh, no! Yo! man. Just damn, man.
The inhabitants of Desert Village displayed a valiant defensive effort against the parasites, but they were lucky, because the parasites dropped outside of their walls. They wouldn't be so lucky in the future. Well,
Chopped liver.
are there any more parasites anywhere else now? There probably
I
are
don't know.
somewhere.
Also, we ran into the guy who was in the prototype Mark IV armor, so he's just running around with like super slow armor.
Oh, I did see them.
Desert Village had a brief respite in between parasite raids, but it wouldn't last long. Rubberball, don't make me clear your inventory. I swear to God,
Oh,
get rid of that right now. or
What did
throw
he
it
get?
outside of the wall, like not in the wall. If you-
What did he have?
He had a lingering potion.
Oh,
He
Lord.
just blew it up on the
No,
ground
that would've
outside the
been a
wall.
bad idea.
I'm not kidding.
Oh no!
Good job for them.
There they go. The population of the Spruce Village saw a sudden increase as many of the players who had been to the library ended up stopping and staying at the Spruce Village instead of returning to the Desert Village, which was probably a smart idea. But the Desert Village wasn't the only place under attack from parasite raids. The Firebase saw its first raids, catching many of its members off guard. The only players who were truly safe were those who were up on the massive andesite beams above the parasites. Unfortunately, nobody was safe from the server crash though.
Oh, the server you were previously on, man.
Fallback.
Dad, you've been connected to a fallback server.
And-
The server just died.
Alright, we back.
Yeah.
We're so back.
We are so back. It's not
What are you
Jover
guys
anymore.
at right now?
It was about to be Jover though for the Desert Village. Multiple raids had already hit it, many of its players had fled, and those who remained were about to be hit with yet another raid in the middle of their base. This new raid proved devastating as there was already much fewer players than before, and those who were left were hunted down. Everybody who could fled the desert village off into the wilderness, hoping to avoid the raiding parties for as long as they could, and if they were lucky, perhaps they could even find new settlements elsewhere.
Oh, ho, ho, ho. We're not dealing with all that.
Lots of people were at Spruce Village, but unfortunately they were under attack as well, and they had yet to complete a wall, so the parasites were able to swim and walk right into their settlement. It was mostly thanks to Ranger Rex and his flamethrower that the Firebase managed to survive that night.
I'm helping.
Guys, come on. I know we're making like a shelter in a Fallout like scenario here, but like, come on, at least use some chiseled cobblestone, you know? Come on, we're all builders.
Wait.
We can do better
can't
than
get a
How
that.
dare
chisel,
you
right?
not use the chiseled cobblestone?
Yeah, we can't get a chisel.
I have a chisel right now. Come on, I expected more of you.
But what of the former inhabitants of the desert village? This was a large percentage of all the players on the entire map, and now they had been displaced. So where did they end up going? Well, this mass exodus ended up being split into numerous small groups of players who stuck together and journeyed around until they found a new home. Interestingly, most of them ended up heading north, toward the northern arm, which happened to be where Fluffy Porg had been since the containment facility. Remember, Fluffy Porg had actually gone straight to the northern village, the Plains Village, and now this is the direction in which most of the groups of players were heading. It seemed they were likely trying to meet up with Fluffy Porg and found a new settlement in the village. Not that getting there was particularly easy, since a lot of people encountered raiding parties on their travels, but most people made it in one piece. and by the next morning, most of the people who had been at the desert village were either on their way or had already arrived at the northern village and were busy setting up a new base. The remoteness of the Plains village ended up making it significantly better than the desert village. It also helped that it wasn't directly underneath a drop zone. Interestingly, a very small number of players from the desert village actually decided to set up a base in the very center of the megastructure on top of the planetoid. While a smaller but still thriving settlement was being founded at the Spruce village, the players there had managed to erect substantial walls alongside their village. A couple players were even hanging out at the insurrectionist base, which they were slowly converting into a creeper farm for gunpowder. For most of the morning, it was quite peaceful at the northern village. A couple people continued to arrive, and everyone was busily chopping down trees and clearing land in preparation for some defenses. Unfortunately, they were attacked by a raiding party from the north, but they did a very good job of fending it off, mainly because they had to travel through a lot of open ground where they could shoot at it from far away. Not everybody was doing so well though. The players still at the Firebase and the people who died elsewhere and respawned at the Firebase were under mostly continuous assault from Parasite raiding parties.
I am down by the
Oh
Firebase.
Jesus!
I'm coming.
Firebase
ASAP.
is not looking good.
I'm coming
Yeah.
down ASAP. Got plenty of flamethrower ammunition and ACR
Evac
ammo.
from the Firebase, because holy crap, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
That was seriously. Oh God, boy. Wait.
Stand your ground, boys. We're not leaving this Firebase behind.
Oh, this doesn't look good.
Wait, what?
Nah, we chillin'.
Oof.
Big bot blew up.
Despite the mayhem happening at the Firebase, things were going quite smoothly and nicely over at the northern village. A player had even managed to get down to one of the floating void villages off the side of the northern arm. It might be a little bit annoying getting back up there though. A short while later, Pensive Trout decided to make a giant bridge off of the northern arm towards another village. However, this endeavor was abandoned. A little bit later, a pod did deploy from the sky and create a huge raiding party that came and attacked the northern village. Things were a little bit different though at the Firebase. It was still pretty horrible late into the night.
Not again.
Big Bot is being spawn killed again.
Yeah, oh god.
Coming, big bot.
Sbeev died. No.
Are you guys having trouble with the Firebase?
Yes. Yeah.
Alright, I'm coming.
Things were looking pretty good at the northern village. They'd spent pretty much the entire night after their raid building big walls and watchtowers along the walls. Things weren't looking so good at the bottom of the northern arm as the tier 3 Beckon that had been hanging out there turned into a tier 4 Beckon and started spawning parasites including an overseer.
Oh shit. I died my first death.
what?
Literally walking on the andesite, and then I had
What
like
is that?
80 parasites spawn right on me.
Oh no.
The overseer. What is
Yeah.
the overseer?
Why is it?
It was literally at our. It's at our base. No, I spawned at our bed and it's there.
Wait, where is it now?
I got killed twice.
Oh my god.
That thing is terrifying.
Get in the mine. Get in the mine. I'm going in the mine.
My dev team heard about the debacle with the Overseer and the Tier 4 Beacon, so they set out on a journey all the way from the eastern arm over to the northern arm where the Tier 4 Beacon was located.
Hostiles on radar. I see something. What the f?
Negative 150, negative 250.
I am
think-
okay.
Kill
Panic,
it.
panic.
Kill it.
You know how loud that is?
Yeah, everything is allowed.
Kevin, you're going close to the tier 4 Beckon though, although people are trying to... Oh wait, they killed it. Nice.
I can see it. I see it.
Oh,
yeah,
it's my dev team.
We're
They
all
killed the
there.
Beckon.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you. I'm with Phoenix right now, and then orange rubber balls over there.
That makes sense. They sent the elite strike team to kill it, and for that,
Yeah.
here we go.
You were gonna report them.
I'm dead.
Oh, dropkick, no.
Dropkick is down.
We've
Dropkick is
lost
down.
one.
Dropkick
Oh
is
no!
down.
Get out of here!
Dead.
I'm dead.
Get out! Get out!
Panic, panic.
Evac! Evac!
More parasites tried to attack the Spruce Village, but by that point the inhabitants had built such a giant wall that parasites had no hope of getting over it, not to mention most of it was surrounded by water. Evidently the people at the northern village had too much time on their hands because they decided to erect a very suspicious statue. This was about to change though because the parasite moderators took notice of the northern village and sent a bunch of raiding parties.
North and being rapidly overwhelmed.
Go them all! I come to
I
north.
died.
I have no ammunition.
Come on, we need help. North.
I'm coming, I'm here.
I am requesting immediate evac.
Okay, do you need help? Do I need to come over there and shoot stuff
Yes.
terribly?
No, but I'm getting the feeling that a lot of gonna appear soon.
Okay.
It was an accurate feeling. There were in fact a lot of parasites on the way, but they would only need to hold out at the Firebase and everywhere else for a little bit longer, as late that night would be the end of the very first day of the event recording. Perhaps the parasites knew this as well, which is why they ferociously attacked people at the Firebase while they still had time.
It looks like it is.
Firebase is under
Just stay up
fire.
here. Just stay up here.
Yeah,
and
let's
then
stay
just
up here.
run low.
As of the start of day 2, the vast majority of players are located either at the Northern Plains Village or at the Firebase, and a smaller number of them are located at the Spruce Village. But everybody will be granted a small grace period for a little while, where they can regroup and rebuild some of their defenses, but they won't be the only ones taking advantage of a grace period. The parasites will also be regrouping and increasing in number and strength. Most of my dev team was at the eastern arm, and somehow they acquired a ton of cake. I'm not sure where they got that, maybe creative mode.
I'm getting World at War flashbacks.
Oh, that's
We
awesome.
have an enchantment table set up.
You did not just give him that.
That's gonna be useless if he does it now, though.
Yeah, that's the spawn pod too.
Believe it or not, amidst all the trolling happening during the grace period, there were some groups of players actually being productive, like the team of people at the lava base. They actually had acquired quite a substantial arsenal. And then we were joined by a dev team member who couldn't make it to the first night.
Oh no. Who invited this guy?
Kingcraft used the grace period to further their mission of mapping the entire megastructure. Those at the northern village found a nice drop pod in the midst of their base that contained a bunch of useful loot for them. Plenty of them were also busy mining underground and building automatic smelting systems in their base. Why
Yeah,
did
there's
they
a
made
little
a
bit of
tunnel
stuff.
bore at the village? They literally made
What?
a tunnel bore.
They literally did. That's cool. I'm not sure how effective that will be considering they're about to exit the mountain, but
Yeah, I'm not sure where they're gonna go with that, but it's cool.
yeah, it's cool, but yeah, you should really feature that in the video.
Oh, I will. While the crazy stuff had been happening everywhere else that last day, Pensive Trout had decided to go to the end of one of the diagonal arms and build out diagonally off into the void. Clearly, they were on a mission to somewhere. Before continuing out into the void though, they had to go back to the megastructure and trade with Fluffy Porg for a ton of logs. These logs were then turned into a massive amount of slabs, which were used to bridge diagonally out into the void further. It appears it was another mission to break out of the designated play area for the game, similar to what David WNV did earlier in the video. Unfortunately, Pensive Trout forgot a water bucket. Using said water bucket, the trout created a waterfall and swam down the waterfall all the way to the super flat floor below. But this trout was not on any ordinary mission. This trout was running very far. It appears that this trout was actually attempting to reach the control room by running to it. A nice lava fortress was being constructed at the northern village by Sir Denkus, who, upon completing the structure, decided to do a little bit of team griefing with an incendiary shotgun. Oh no, look at the time.
Oh no, look at the time. It's Parasite O'clock.
Haha. Difficulty normal. It was, in fact, Parasite O'clock. The grace period ended, and unfortunately one of the very first victims was Kingcraft, who was just trying to map out the entire megastructure. They found themselves in the wrong place, at the wrong time, right underneath the drop zone, next to the northern village. The parasites deployed flying carrier forms, which were the first to reach the village. Obviously, they could just fly up and over the walls, and in doing so, they would drop their payload of small parasites behind enemy lines. Despite preparing a lot during the grace period and having a lot of heavily armed members, the lava base had a very difficult time with the first raid that showed up.
No, I think both of them are just out.
Taiga Village got hit by big parasite raids as well, but they had the defenses and the manpower that Lava Base didn't, so they were able to fend off almost any attack that came their way. Well, it's certainly harder than last time.
The
So
Spruce Village survived it like all pretty well.
The Spruce Village is doing great right now.
Yeah, I mean we cleared the whole thing.
Oh, what's up, man?
How's it going? It's a lot harder tonight.
Is it? Oh god, hold on. I just logged on. There's a bunch of parasites here.
Morning arrived, but that didn't mean the attacks stopped, especially not at the Firebase. The only upside is that they wouldn't have to hold out too much longer before the dropship arrived, and they could journey to the control room. But you guys are going to need to team up. Everybody's going to need to team up to beat that.
Yeah. I got my boys. We're gonna roll in and be all good.
I have my sniper rifle and shotguns ready.
Oh my god, I have no idea how to get rid of this.
I've tried
What
everything.
the?
I've tried...
I have a FAMAS.
You need some bullets for that, FAMAS?
I have the power creative mode. But thanks.
Yes, power of creative mode.
Okay. Who's yet? I can't think of any.
Oh, the trench gun is so satisfying.
Yes, yes, it is.
Oh, that's a lot of pods. I'm getting out of here.
Your soundboard is getting muted.
Who, me? I didn't even use it.
Whoever's soundboard just had the metal pipe.
that may be like.
I mean, I have a metal pipe.
Someone played a much louder version of metal pipe and it almost deafened me.
I just joined one.
I kid you not.
It is actively spawning stuff, but they're not.
Oh, I just saw a guy die right in front of me.
The battle in and around the Firebase continued well into the afternoon, with very few breaks in between combat. Those at the Spruce Village were still vigorously defending themselves against hordes of parasites as well, but they were having a much better time thanks to their defenses. The only place that got a little bit of peace that day was the Northern Village, but as usual the peace was short-lived this time because, well, some of the event gods and moderators decided that it had been a little bit too peaceful for a little bit too long. That night, the parasites sent everything they had at the Northern Village in a desperate attempt to overwhelm the defenses. And it worked.
Jesus Christ.
There was no hope. They were forced to abandon the Northern Village, but all was not lost, as at that moment, the dropship appeared.
Tunnel's not even finished. There's no point in going in there.
It's better than here.
But there's a
chest. I think you guys should
Dropship has appeared.
Everything you need from the chest and let's go.
Yo, where is
I think you guys should migrate to
Dropship is in the desert.
The situation was not much better at the Firebase either. Although, a lot of players were appearing at the Firebase as they died elsewhere, mainly at the Northern Village. But nobody stuck around for long if they could help it. With the appearance of the dropship, players from all corners of the map began converging on a spot in one of the southern deserts. The last large group of players left the Northern Village around that time. They ran down the length of the northern arm and eventually arrived at Kevin and his friend's house. I'm not sure what happened here, because parasites aren't supposed to break blocks, but they also broke blocks. And everybody here would have died, but at that moment the server was switched to peaceful to clear all the parasites to fix lags, so they were actually saved. It's kind of a strange scenario. Kevin's house suffered a massive home invasion as most of the remaining players leaving the Northern Village stampeded through the area on their way to the dropship.
Okay, put a bed down.
Dude, a Ruptor just launched at me and I sniper shot it midair.
Nice.
Did North
I
Village
don't even know
survive?
what happened? I didn't spawn that much. It exploded. What?
Bruh. Ranger, what have you done?
I didn't do anything.
It wasn't long before the inhabitants of Spruce Village as well set out on a journey toward the dropship. They formed a large group and set off counterclockwise around the edge of the megastructure, actually following the same path that the inhabitants of the northern village had taken only minutes before. The very first person to reach the dropship was Starkiller, but hot on their heels were the Parasites, the second people to reach the dropship, unless you count moderators who can teleport there. Starkiller was all alone on the ring world, but not for long. David WNV was the next person to make it to the dropship, even fighting their way through a horde of parasites to get there. But many others weren't far behind, coming by boat and by land and by megastructure beam. Many of them hung around the outside of the dropship, reluctant to go in alone, waiting for a large group to form. Eventually, they did go through and decided to wait on the other side, which actually ended up being safer once they got there. Except for David WNV, who decided to go exploring briefly into the depths of the structure by themselves. They quickly turned around though, as they were met with stiff resistance. Some of the parasites even began finding their way out of the structure and towards the dropship landing zone. The hordes were already on their way.
There's already parasites, bro.
Sure, it's the goal. We're trying to find the dropship so we can get to the control room.
Got it. What are the boards? How much harder are the parasites to stab?
A lot harder.
Yeah, I think like each time.
Wow, okay.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh, they're shooting string at me? That's wild.
No, it's cobwebs.
A larger group was forming at the landing site, large enough to actually take on the structure. The first group entered, but there were still many others on their way to the dropship to begin with back on the megastructure. This small group had to traverse through this dangerous ravine near a parasite drop zone. Luckily, they made it through in between raids, but others would not be so lucky. By that point, large numbers of players had reached the dropship, and were gearing up both on the megastructure side and on the ring world side. But the parasites weren't going to sit idly by and watch them board the dropship in peace. No, the parasites deployed a large attack on this group of players as they exited the ravine. Most of them barely made it out alive. Some of them didn't. But they were not deterred, and they made it back to the dropship landing zone with a different group of players who were on their way. And here now we return to the vanguard of the soldiers making their way into the Forerunner structure, on their way to breach the control room if possible.
Bro, what?
Me.
I didn't die 10 times yet.
Is that you, Ranger?
Oh wait, I did. I died 10 times from Ranger's NPC killing me.
I don't know how they hunted me down. That was kind of crazy.
What just... I just got one tapped by something. There's an adapted freaker.
Oh yeah, those things are nasty. Up close.
Yeah, I didn't know it was there. It's just one tap. So I was able to get up the wall. What's the course of the dropship?
Push up.
Can I mine the dropship?
Move in. Rush to the first hole.
The foremost group of players had almost broken out of the hallway segment and onto the big bridge over the valley. The player's next big challenge was making it to the elevator and getting to ground level so that they could break out into the open at the base of the control room.
Wow, there are a lot of people here. Looks like
Dragon's breath and
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Oh, I can't.
they made it all the way to the bottom.
With the help of the Master Chief himself and his minigun, the players were able to break out of the bottom hallway. A few players attempted to scale the spine of the structure, but they were pushed back by overwhelming parasites coming from the top. Players who died respawned back on the megastructure, many of them having to journey a significant distance to get back to the dropship. Some of those who were respawning at the Firebase ran into problems getting back, one of which resulted in a final death for a player. They were now no more than a floating sniper rifle.
Up here.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Lapis.
We've got
I'm gone.
A group of players got close to the uppermost levels of the control room, not far from their destination, but they were forced back against the side of the cliff by parasites and ultimately routed. Luckily, there were reinforcements arriving from the dropship almost continuously. Many of them were even able to sit on the stone bridge and shoot down at the parasites below them from relative safety. In a mad dash, Shark Buddy almost made it through to the control room, but the parasites were waiting, and Shark Buddy was ambushed and destroyed by a horde of parasites. It was right after the first player nearly broke through that the parasites began deploying marauder forms to devastating effect. The marauder form decided to target the Master Chief in particular, and despite enchanted golden apples, the Master Chief was no match for the marauder. But not to worry, the Master Chief returned almost immediately, and with him came a huge horde of players.
You can equip Juggernaut armor and use a minigun.
How do you get Juggernaut armor?
You know what?
Tanky.
That's a great idea.
But what of Pensive Trout? Well, Pensive Trout had been running for thousands of blocks this whole time, for like the last 45 minutes. But while everyone else was fighting at the control room, Pensive Trout actually had managed to reach the control room from the outside. They were attempting to bypass the entire combat area and reach the activation room from the outside. Unfortunately, they ran into a localized adventure mode area. In other words, they could not build any further in that direction. So they did the logical thing and drowned themselves to get put back in survival mode, and then they decided to keep staircasing up in a different direction. Back outside the control room, the players were having difficulty making progress, mainly due to the presence of additional marauders.
So many of them. I can hear them. Oh my goodness, they're
Things were starting to look better. A large group of players was very near the top, and the only marauder currently deployed was busy chasing people around at the very bottom of the structure. Back on the Megastructure, returning players were having problems in the small ravine near the dropship. They were attempting to use it as a shortcut, but the parasites had different ideas. A stalemate ensued for a long time. Starkiller, the first player who had actually reached the control room, decided to climb up the spine and made it to the top unopposed. They were now only one level away from the control room itself. At last, the players had made it. They'd broken through. Even the ghostly sniper rifle was there.
God, the freaking Riegers. I hate them.
That sounds like a slur. Hey, I was in a cave this whole time. Gosh dang it. Dude, just fire the halo. Hey, I made it. I like literally just got you.
Pensive Trout was so close, yet so far. Their destination was in sight, but there was no way to reach it. While elsewhere the combat continued and players were being routed, those inside the control room were victorious, for they had activated the halo.
Oh my goodness, no.
I guess the event's still going, right?
Oh, I just got struck by lightning.
Go north of the control room. I built the whole structure outside.
Outside of what?
The control room.
And so, the human soldiers were victorious. Through their sacrifice, they defeated the Parasite and ensured the survival of their race and the galaxy at large. As always, if you enjoyed the video, consider dropping a like and subscribing. It's always very appreciated. If you'd like to play in future events yourself, you can join the Discord server linked in the description. And if you want to check out the Megastructure map, you can find the vanilla version of it on my Patreon. Big shout out to my patrons. You guys are awesome. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day. And I'll see you in the next video or live stream. Bye.